Hi, I'm Adam Pritchard, Assistant Curator of Paleontology at the Virginia Museum of Natural History, and I've returned with another tale of ancient life. This week we return to the Triassic Period, that age of the early weird reptiles over 200 million years old, my personal favorite, and Doswellia, our star of 2 weeks ago. Doswellia was that weird crocodile-like reptile that wasn't actually a crocodile. It converged on a crocodile-like body plan. What does that mean? Well, go watch part 1 of the Tale of Doswellia episode of Tales of Ancient Life. Then check out the rest of the Tales of Ancient Life episodes. Then check out the posts of Ben in Nature, in which our Administrator of Science, Ben Williams, travels through Southwest Virginia learning about the natural history of things that are still living there. And check out our live animal feedings from educator Kayla Lacey, who's been keeping up with the live animal collections at the Virginia Museum of Natural History. Man, you guys are going to be Virginia natural history experts once all of the social distancing is done. Today, I'll be talking about the amazing world that Doswellia lived in, the scientists and fossil collectors who have helped flesh out their picture of that world, and the secrets it still holds. The skeleton of Doswellia was discovered at a construction site in Doswell, Virginia, north of Richmond, in 1974. It's actually really near the King's Dominion amusement park there, although I don't think that was there during the Triassic period. Nah. The skeleton is actually a really good example of how long it can take for a paleontological discovery to be, completed and put out into the world sometimes. It was originally recovered by a Smithsonian crew of paleontologists led by Dr. Nicholas Houghton, James Kaltenbeck, and Robert Weems. Dr. Weems is a really important paleontologist to highlight here. He's probably done more work than anyone else on sort of fleshing out our picture of the last 250 million years in the Commonwealth of Virginia and the history of the vertebrate animals that lived there. And it was Dr. Weems that initially described the skeleton of Doswellia in the scientific literature and told us all about how it differed from other reptiles, quite accurately. His work has been crucially important to understanding the Triassic period in the state of Virginia. Discoveries of skeletons like that of Doswellia from the Triassic of Virginia are so rare. Another specimen like that has not been discovered of Doswellia from the state, although there have been some isolated bits and pieces reported. However, Doswellia isn't the only animal that's been discovered in the Triassic rocks of Virginia in the general Richmond area. There are actually a lot of fossil sites in the area that have produced several different faunas of animals that lived in the Triassic of central Virginia. A lot of specimens of bony scaled fishes, sort of round-bodied animals that are covered in thick bony scales that look like modern garfish. Lots of teeth and bones of phytosaurs, which are a different kind of crocodile-like reptile from Doswellia. They had long, narrow snouts and were much, much larger. These are more car-sized animals sometimes. Phytosaurs actually have their nostrils, their nose holes, up between their eyes, almost like a modern-day whale. There have also been some fossil sites in central Virginia that have produced records of tiny, tiny animals, early mammal relatives called cynodonts, weird early reptiles that no one really knows what to do with because they're so strange looking, and what could be remains of the only venomous animal known from the Triassic period, a weird reptile with tube-shaped teeth, kind of like those of a modern viper, called Wachitodon. A lot of these have been worked on by my colleague and good friend Dr. Hans-Dieter Seuss of the Smithsonian Institution, who I worked with before I came to the Virginia Museum of Natural History. If you want to see some really funny paleontology videos, check out Dr. Hans Seuss's videos on the Smithsonian Institution's YouTube channel. I'll add a link to the description. Other teeth and bones in the area attest to the presence of other carnivorous reptiles that may include crocodile relatives and early dinosaurs. There's an incredible variety of animals known from the Richmond area, even though Doswellia is really the only one where we have a lot of the skeleton. When I started at the Virginia Museum of Natural History, I was contacted by a collector in the Richmond area, Mr. Michael Stevens. I knew about some of the discoveries of Triassic vertebrate animals in the Richmond area, like Doswellia, but I kind of assumed that those fossil sites were so few and far between, and most of them were covered by buildings and parking lots, and that there really wasn't a chance to find fossils in a urban or suburban setting. But Michael had worked a lot with Dr. Weems, and they both knew a lot about the existing fossil sites that were still present and are still present in the area. I'm grateful to both of them because in the few prospecting trips I've had to the area, we've managed to find tiny little bones and lots of bits of fish scales and ancient ferns and leaves, even coprolites, fossil poop, just from a tiny amount of digging. Continuing to work in that area and doing some more serious paleontology field expeditions has the potential to really flesh out the history of Virginia during the Triassic period. Considering how weird something like Doswellia is to begin with, what new madness awaits us in the earth? Horns, spikes, armor, weird teeth, beaks, fast-running limbs, all kinds of amazing stuff could be discovered by continuing to prospect and dig in the area of Richmond, Virginia. If you're a resident of the Richmond area and you've run across something that looks like a fossil, tiny or gigantic, we take all kinds, please drop a line to the Virginia Museum of Natural History. You might have discovered something incredible from the Triassic period. Or you might have found a fossil whale. There are those in that area too. Check out episode 1 of Tales of Ancient Life. Or you might have found a really neat rock. The staff at the Virginia Museum and the scientists are always excited to help the citizens of the state explore and understand discoveries that they make. Everyone can participate in natural history as long as they share what they've found. I wouldn't really recommend hunting for fossils in a populated area right now, where social distancing would be really difficult. However, if you're a young scientist and you would like an activity for the week, I have one for you. Ask a question. If you're a student and you have an idea or a question about something you're interested in natural history or paleontology, please post it to the post that this video is associated with on the VMNH social media. One thing we're interested in doing in the near future is Q&A type videos where we actually interact with the people that are viewing this kind of content. We're excited to hear what you have to say about Virginia natural history. So please, ask a question. I still need to talk about paleontology all the time, and my cats are still not all that interested. So, with that, I'm Adam Pritchard, and I'll be back with yet more tales of ancient life.